Hello everyone, welcome to Unacademy. Let's crack UPSC CSE English. In today's session, we'll continue with our last lecture's topic, that is Center-State Relations. Yes, it's my pleasure to welcome you all in our Inspire crash course targeted for Prelims 2021. Yes friends, on Unacademy, which is known as India's largest e-learning platform, where you will get daily life classes, structured courses, unlimited access for live and recorded classes, along with unlimited mock tests. So after your preparation, you can evaluate yourself through mock tests. We 100 plus top educators will guide you throughout the preparation. So download Unacademy Learning app today and start your preparation. It's me, Rushikesh Inamdar, having experience more than 8 years in the field of guiding for UPSC aspirants. You can join our Telegram group using this link and you can follow me on Unacademy. Yes, so there are queries from aspirants like about the various modules, what they will get and everything. So here we have 15,000 plus courses available on our platform. Like for the UPSC CSE, we are providing all subjects including optional as well. So you can join our course through like polity, governance and IA module, history, Indian economy, geography, environment and ecology, science and technology. So it's up to you. All right, so start your preparation with any one of the subscription like plus and iconic, where you will get 10% discount using code RBI live. So this 10% discount is applicable in the February month only. So hurry up and join this subscription with using referral code RBI live. Yes, friends, these are the information regarding our upcoming batches scheduled on 18th February. Alright, so you can join our 6-month, 1 year, 2 years batches as per your convenience. Even we have NCERT focused batches for the UPSC prelims as well. Yes, this is our subscription or courses combination. So again you can use code RBI live. Yes, RBI live to get 10% discount. Yes friends, so in today's lecture, continuation with the last lecture, Center-State Relations, will study administrative relations. So before that, just have a recap of yesterday's lecture or last lecture, that is, as per Constitution of India, we are following federal structure where powers are divided into center and states. So which type of powers, like legislative powers, executive powers and financial powers. Okay, so just remember these things. And there is no division of judicial power. All right, there is no division of judicial power, which means this is an integrated judicial system, right? So this is the recap regarding yesterday's lecture. Now we'll see the articles related with the center-state legislative relations, right? So article 245 deals with the extent of laws made by parliament and by the legislature of states. Right? Article 246 deals with the subject matter of laws made by parliament and by the legislatures of states. Yes, Article 246A describes special provision with respect to goods and services tax. Article 247 deals with the power of parliament to provide for establishment of certain additional codes. Article 248 deals with the residuary powers of legislation. Article 249 deals with the power of parliament to legislate with respect to a matter in the state list in the national interest. Yes, next Article 250 describes power of parliament to legislate with respect to any matter in the state list if a proclamation of emergency is in operation. Yes, Article 251 deals with inconsistency between laws made by parliament under articles 249 and 250 and laws made by the legislatures of states. Yes. Next, Article 252 deals with the power of parliament to legislate for two or more states by consent and adoption of such a legislation by any other state. Yes, Vaishali, we are continuing yesterday's last topic, that is central state relations. Yes, and now just we are studying articles related with the legislative powers, right? Article 253 deals with the legislation for giving effect to international agreements. Article 254, inconsistency between laws made by parliament and laws made by the legislatures of states. Article 255 describes as requirements as to recommendations and previous sanctions to be regarded as matters of procedure only. Yes. So, these are the articles related to center-state legislative relations. Alright. So, Article 245, 246, 246A, Article 247, Article 248, Article 249, Article 250, Article 251, Article 252, 253, Article 254 and Article 255, which describes legislative powers. Alright, now moving to next part, that is administrative relations. Yes, in center-state relations, this is the important part, that is administrative relations. So, Article 256 to 263. Yes, friends, note down the point, that is Article 256 to 263 deals with the administrative relations between center and the states. So these articles mentioned under the part 11, alright, part 11 of the Constitution of India. Yes. So now we'll see distribution of executive powers. What is mean that? So this executive powers has been divided between the center and the states on the lines of the distribution of legislative powers, except in few cases. So the executive power of the center extend to the whole of India. All right. Now, first is to the matter on which the parliament has exclusive power of legislation, that is, the subjects enumerated in the union list. Yes. Yes, guys. So, the matters on which the parliament has exclusive power of legislation. Next is to the exercise of rights, authority, and jurisdiction conferred on it by any treaty or agreement. Yes. So, this distribution of powers to the exercise of rights, authority, and jurisdiction conferred on it by any treaty or agreement. So similarly, the executive power of a state extends to its territory in respect of matters on which the state legislatures has exclusive power of legislation. So just remember guys, if we are considering about central, so union, central, that is union, and our parliament has exclusive power of legislation throughout the India. But state, so if we are talking about executive powers of the state, so a state extends to its territory in respect of matters on which the state legislature has exclusive power of legislation. So we can say state can make laws or powers, we can say powers related with the jurisdiction and territory of that particular state. Yes. So where in short we can say the subjects mentioned under state list. Alright, so these powers is under state legislations. Now if we are talking about the subjects mentioned in the concurrent list, so the parliament and the state legislatures have the power of legislation related with the subject of concurrent list, right? So the executive power rests with the states except when a constitutional provision or a parliamentary law specifically confers it on the center, right? So a law on a concurrent subject, though enacted by the parliament, is to be executed by the states except when the constitution or parliament has directed otherwise. Alright. Yes. Next, obligation of states and the center. Yes. So the constitution has placed two restrictions on the executive power of the states in order to give ample scope to the center for exercising its executive power in an unrestricted manner. Alright, so the executive power of every state is to be exercised in such a way that as to ensure compliance with the law made by the parliament and any existing law which apply in the state, right? So next is as not to impede or prejudice the exercise of executive power of the center in the state. So these are the obligation of states and the center, where the executive power of every state is to be exercised in these two ways, right? So the former lays down a general obligation upon the state and the later imposes a specific obligation on the state not to hamper the executive power of the center. So here we can say this is the general obligation and this is the specific obligation mentioned in our constitution. Yes, friends. Next, in the both cases, the executive power of the center extend to giving of such directions to the states are necessary for the purpose. Right. So the sanction behind these directions of the center is coercive in nature, right? So this article 365 says that where any state has failed to comply with any directions given by the center, it will be lawful for the president to hold that a situation has arisen in which the government of the state cannot be carried on in accordance with the provisions of the constitution. So which means if any particular state, for example, we can say a state A has failed to comply with directions given by the center. All right. So then, all right. So it will lawful for the president to hold that a situation has arisen in which government of state cannot be carried on in accordance with the provisions of the constitution. So states should abide these provisions mentioned in the constitution, right? Next, which means the president rules can be imposed in the state under article 356. Yes. So for example, state A has failed to comply with the directions given by center, then president then president to hold a situation, that is the president's rule can be imposed in the state A under article 356. All right. Yes, just remember this point in this slide. Now next, center's directions to the states. Yes. Now, in addition to the above two cases, the center is empowered to give directions to the states with regard to the exercise of their executive power in the following matters, like the construction and maintenance of means of communication by the state. All right. So this communication declared to be of national or military importance, right? So the center is empowered to give directions to the states with regards to the exercise of executive power in few cases, like the construction and maintenance of means of communication declared to be of national or military importance. All right. So this communication by the states, means of communication by the states. Next is the measures to be taken for the protection of the railways within the state. After that, the provision of adequate facilities for instruction in the mother tongue at primary stage of education to children belonging to the minority groups in the state, and the drawing up and execution of the specified schemes for the welfare of the scheduled tribes in the state. All right, so the coercive sanction behind the central direction under article 365. So these are the few provisions where center is empowered to give direction to the states in their executive power. All right, next, mutual delegation of functions. Yes guys, now the distribution of legislative powers between the center and the states is rigid, so consequently the center cannot delegate its legislative powers to the states, and a single state cannot request the parliament to make a law on a state subject, right? So the distribution of legislative powers between the center and states is rigid. So consequently, the center cannot delegate its legislative powers to the states, and a single state cannot request the parliament to make a law on a state subject. As we have studied yesterday, two or more states can pass a resolution for the same, right? Yes. So the distribution of executive power in general follows the distribution of legislative powers, but such a rigid division in the executive sphere may lead to occasional conflicts between center and the states. All right. So the constitution provides for intergovernment delegation of executive functions in order to mitigate rigidity and avoid situation of deadlock, right? So here our constitution is provide for intergovernment delegation of executive functions in order to mitigate rigidity and avoid a situation of deadlock. Yes, so accordingly, the president may, within the consent of the state government, entrust to the government any of the executive functions of the center. Conversely, the governor of state may, with the consent of the central government, entrust to that government any of the executive functions of the state. All right. Yes. So it's about the mutual delegation of functions. With that, so the mutual delegation of administrative functions may be conditional or unconditional. Yes. So the constitution also makes a provision for the entrustment of the executive functions of the center to a state without the consent of that state, but in this case the delegation is by the parliament and not by the president. Yes, so the constitution also makes a provision for the entrustment of the executive functions of the center to a state without the consent of that state. So in this case, the delegation is by the parliament and not by the president. Yes. So thus a law made by the parliament on a subject of the union list can confer powers and impose duties on a state, or authorize the conferring of powers and imposition of duties by the center upon a state. Alright. Yes. So the same thing cannot be done by the state legislature. From the above, it is clear that the mutual delegation of functions between the center and the state can take place either under an agreement or by a legislation. So the center can use both the methods. A state can use only the first method for the same. Right? So it's all about the mutual delegation of functions. Yes. Yes, friends. So this is the theoretical part. We have to just read these concepts and note down few important points from this theoretical part. Yes. Next, cooperation between the center and states. Yes. This is the important part, we can say, for the system of our, for the federal system, right? So the constitution contains the few provisions to secure cooperation and coordination between the center and the states. Yes. So the parliament can provide for the adjudication for any dispute or complaint with respect to the use, distribution, and control of waters of any interstate river and river valley. Right? Yes. So the parliament can provide for the adjudication of any dispute or complaint with respect to the use, distribution, and control of waters of any interstate river and river valley. Yes, the president can establish an interstate council to investigate a discuss subject of common interest between the center and state. Such a council was set up in 1990. Yes. So now, if we are talking about there is state A and state B, they have disputes over river or river valley, then parliament parliament can provide the adjudication of any dispute between these two states. All right. And now another concept is interstate council. Yes. So the president of India can establish interstate council under article 263 of our constitution. So president can establish this interstate council to investigate and discuss subject of common interest between these two states, right? Two or more states. And again, this interstate council to investigate and discuss subject of common interest between the center and the states also. Yes, between center and states as well. So such a council was set up in 1990. Next, full faith and credit is to be given throughout the territory of India to public acts, records, and judicial proceedings of the center and every state. Right? Next, the parliament can appoint an appropriate authority to carry out the purposes of the constitutional provisions relating to the interstate freedom of trade, commerce, and intercourse. But no such authority has been appointed so far. So the parliament can appoint an appropriate authority to carry out the purposes of the constitutional provisions relating to the interstate freedom of trade and commerce. Right? So it's all about the cooperation between the center and the states. All right, now, yes, guys. So just note down this important point, like establishment of or president can establish interstate council under article 263. All right. And next is parliament can appoint appropriate authority to carry out the provisions relating to the freedom of state, freedom of freedom of trade and commerce. Yes. Now, as here is the announcement for Unacademy Summit 2.0. So, after the successful and grand response from your end for our first summit, Unacademy Summit 1.0 was successfully conducted. Now we are announcing our next Unacademy Summit 2.0, that is a 2-day summit to transfer your civil services preparation. So basically, guys, this summit will help you throughout your preparation. So register yourself for this Unacademy Summit, which is scheduled on 20th and 21st February. Right? Yes. So in this summit, we have iconic and renowned speakers like Ravi Shankar Prasad, Minister of Communications and Electronics and IT, Law and Justice, Government of India, Kailash Satyarthi, Nobel Peace Laureate and Child Rights Activist. Then we have notable speaker Deepak Gupta, author and former chairman of UPSC. Then Jayesh Rajan, Secretary, ENJ and IT, Electronics and Communication and IT, Telangana government. Then we have Durga Shakti Nagpal, IAS officer. Yes. After that, Dr. Ajit Ranade, Chief Economist. Then we have Frank Rosen Pereira, Senior Anchor and Public Broadcaster. Yes. Frequently we are watching lectures on Rajya Sabha TV. So he'll guide you in this Summit 2.0. And then we have Pervin Kaswan, Indian Forest Officer. So do not forget to register for this Unacademy Summit 2.0. Alright, yes. Now, after that, as all our aspirants wants to be a part of All India services, so do not forget to attend our Unacademy 2.0 Summit, which will motivate you and we will boost your preparation. Yes, now we'll start with the with the continuation of our topic. Now we'll study All India services. So if we'll study any constitution in the world, any other nations or basically further those countries following federal government or federation of center and provisions or provinces or states, so they have their separate public services. Like the same in our country, center and the states have their separate public services called the central services and the state services, right? So in addition to these two services, we have All India services, that is Indian Administrative Services, Indian Police Services and Indian Forest Services. Yes, so the member of these services occupy top positions, or we can say key posts, under the both center and the states and serve them by turns. So they are recruited and trained by the center, and these services are controlled jointly by the center and the states. Yes, but we can say that the ultimate control lies with the central government, while the immediate control vests with the state governments. Right. So in 1947, Indian Civil Service (ICS) was replaced. ICS was replaced by Indian Administrative Services, that is IAS, and the Indian Police was replaced by Indian Police Services, that is IPS, right? And these were recognized by the Constitution as All India Services. Alright, and after that, so these two changes was made in 1947, and after that in 1966 Indian Forest Services Indian Forest Services was created as third All India Services. Yes, so do not confuse with the Indian Foreign Services, that is IFS, and Indian Forest Services is IFOS. Alright, so Indian Forest Service was created as All India Services in 1966. Alright, so Article 312. Now just remember, Article 312 deals with the All India Services, which means this article describes authorizes the Parliament to create new All India Services on the basis of a Rajya Sabha resolution to that effect. Okay. Yes. Now, each of these three All India Services, irrespective of their division among the different states, form a single service with the common rights and status and uniform scales of pay throughout the country. Alright, so IAS, IPS and Indian Forest Services they form a single service with common rights and status and uniform scales of pay throughout the country. Yes. So we can say that All India Services violate the principle of federalism under the Constitution by restricting the autonomy and patronage of the states. So they are supported on the ground that they help in maintaining high standard of administration in the center as well as in the states. Okay. Yes. So these All India Services will help to ensure uniformity of administrative system throughout the country. These are the supportive ground for All India Services. Next is they facilitate liaison, cooperation, coordination and joint action on the issues of common interests between the center and the states. Yes. So just remember the point, that is these services will facilitate liaison, cooperation, coordination and joint action on the issues of the common interest between the center and the states. All right. Yes. So if we are talking about these All India Services and with supporting with these services, drafting committee chairman Dr. B.R. Ambedkar justified these services in Constituent Assembly with few observations, like the dual polity which is inherent in a federal system is followed in all India federations by a dual service. So in all federations there is a federal civil service and a state civil service. So the Indian Federation, though dual polity, will have a dual service, but with one exception. It is recognized that in every country there are certain posts in its administrative setup which might be called strategic from the point of view of maintaining the standard of administration. Right? So in every country there are certain posts in the administrative setup which might be called strategic from the point of view of maintaining standard of administration. So there can be no doubt that the standard of administration depends upon the caliber of the civil servants who are appointed to the strategic posts. Right. So, the Constitution provides that without depriving the states of their rights to form their own civil services. Yes. So, there shall be an all India service recruited on an all India basis with common qualifications with uniform scale of pay and members of which alone could be appointed to those strategic posts throughout the union. Yes, right. So these are the few observations, or we can say points, mentioned by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in Constituent Assembly to supporting all India services. Yes. Now after that, we'll study public service commissions. Yes. So, in the field of public service commission, the center-state relations are as follows, like the chairman and members of a state public service commission, so though appointed by the governor of state, can be removed only by the president. So here just note down the point, that is the chairman and members of the state public service commission appointed by the governor of the state, but they can be removed only by the president. Yes. So the parliament can establish a joint state public service commission, JSPSC, for two or more states on the request of the state legislatures concerned. So the chairman and members of the JSPSC are appointed by the president. So now, for example, state A and state B forwarded one request to the parliament about joint state public service commission for these two states. Then the chairman and the members of this JPSC are appointed by the president. Alright. Not by the respective governors of those states. Okay. So the chairman and members of the state public service commission in case of JSPSC, that is joint state public service commission, are appointed by the president of India. Yes. Next, the union public service commission can serve the needs of a state on the request on the state governor and with the approval of the president. So next point is UPSC can serve the needs of the state where a state on the request of the state governor, and with the approval of the president of India. Yes. Next, so the UPSC assists the states when requested by two or more states in framing and operating schemes of joint recruitment for any services on which candidates possessing special qualifications are required. So here UPSC can assist states when there are two or more states. They will pass a resolution or they'll send the request to UPSC, okay, with the procedure. So the UPSC can assist the states in framing and operating schemes for joint recruitment for any services for which candidates possessing special qualifications. Alright. Next is integrated judicial system. Yes guys. Now, integrated judicial system. Yes, we have discussed this point earlier as well. So friends, I hope you have remembered the meaning, and this is mentioned the judicial system, that is integrated judicial system. Yes. So in our country, we have dual system of administration, but we don't have judicial system of dual nature, which means a constitution establish an integrated judicial system. Yes. So where in this system, Supreme Court at the top, after that high courts, and then the lower courts. Yes. So the single system of courts enforces both the central and state laws. So just remember, central and state laws enforced by the all courts. Alright, so single system of courts mentioned in our constitution. Alright, so this is to done to eliminate diversities in the remedial procedure, and the judges of the state high court are appointed by the president in consultation with the chief justice of India and the governor of the state. Right? So judges of a state high court are appointed by the president in consultation with the chief justice of India and governor of that particular state. Alright. Even they can also be transferred and removed by the president. So judges of the judges of a state high court are appointed by the president and can also be transferred or removed by the president. So the parliament can establish a common high court for two or more states. Now next point is a parliament can establish a common high court for two or more states. For example, Maharashtra and Goa. Yes, they have common high court. And again, next example is, yes, Punjab and Haryana. Punjab and Haryana, they have common high court. Alright. Yes. So this is the integrated judicial system. Now after that, we'll study relations during emergencies. Yes, in administrative relations, we are studying dividation or powers divided between center and states. Now next is relations during emergencies. So during the operation of a national emergency under Article 352, the center becomes entitled to give executive directions to a state on any matter, and the state governments are brought under the complete control of the center, though they are not suspended. Alright, so under Article 352 of a national emergency, the center becomes entitled to give executive directions to the state on all matters. Yes. After that, the president's rule is imposed in a state when. Now, if we are talking about Article 356, so when the president rules in a rule is imposed in a state under Article 356, the president can assume to himself the functions of the state government and powers vested in the governor or any other executive authority in the state. Alright. Next, during the operation, yes, during the operation of a financial emergency, which is mentioned in Article 360. So during the operation of a financial emergency, the center can direct the states to observe canons of financial property and can give other necessary directions, including the reduction of salaries of persons serving in the state. Yes, so these provisions mentioned in the Article 360 and financial emergency. Yes. Now, after the relations during emergencies, we'll study other provisions related with the center-state relations with administrative powers. Yes. Now, the Constitution contains the other provisions to enable the center to exercise control over the state administration, like Article 355. Yes, Article 355 imposes two duties on the center. One is to protect every state against external aggression and internal disturbance. And second, to ensure that the government of every state is carried on in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. Yes. So the Article 355 imposes two duties on the center. One is to protect every state against external aggression and internal disturbance. And second, to ensure that the government of every state is carried on in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. Next provision. The governor of state is appointed by the president. He holds office during the pleasure of the president. In addition to the constitutional head of the state, the governor acts as an agent of the center in the state, and he submits periodical reports to the center about the administrative affairs of the state. Yes. So here, the governor of a state is appointed by the President of India, and the governor acts as an agent of the center in the state. Alright. Yes, and he submits periodical reports to the central government or center in the administrative affairs happening in the state. Yes. Next, the state election commissioner, though appointed by the governor of the state, but can be removed only by the president. So next provision is the appointment of state election commissioner. Yes. So the state election commissioner appointed by the governor of the state, but he can be removed by the President of India. Alright, next. Now we'll see few extra constitutional devices, right? So as we have studied few constitutional devices mentioned to promote cooperation and coordination between center and states. Now we'll see extra constitutional devices, which includes a number of advisory bodies and conferences held at the central level. Yes. Now, the non-constitutional advisory bodies include the Niti Aayog. Yes. Earlier, this body was known as Planning Commission, right? So, the non-constitutional advisory body, including Niti Aayog and the National Integration Council, NIC, the Central Council of Health and Family Welfare, the Central Council of Local Government, the Zonal Councils, the Northeastern Councils, the Central Council of Indian Medicine, the Central Council of Homeopathy, the Transport Development Council, the University Grants Commission, and so on. Alright. Yes. Yes. Umesh, Unacademy Summit 2.0 will help you throughout your preparation, where number of talks and discussions will conducted. Alright. So I'll give you information at end of the lecture. So where famous and experts of the various subjects will conduct the sessions and they will guide you. Alright. So there are renowned and iconic speakers will guide you. Yes. Now come to the point. So these are the extra constitutional devices like Niti Aayog, National Integration Council, Central Council of Health and Family Welfare, Central Council of Local Government, Zonal Councils, the Northeastern Council, the Central Council of Indian Medicine, Central Council of Homeopathy, the Transport Development Council, and the University Grants Commission, and so on. So these are the non-constitutional advisory bodies promoting cooperation and coordination between the center and the state. Yes. Now, there are important conferences held either annually or otherwise facilitate center-state consultation on a wide range of matters, like, which means our center and state government promoting this cooperation and coordination through important conferences like the Governance Conference presided over by the President, Chief Ministers Conference presided over by the Prime Minister, Chief Secretaries Conference presided over by the Cabinet Secretary, the Conference of Inspector General of Police, Chief Justices Conference presided over by the Chief Justice of India, the Conference of Vice Chancellors, the Home Ministers Conference presided over by the Central Home Minister, the Law Ministers Conference presided by the Central Law Minister. Yes. So these are the important conferences conducted annually or periodically to promote cooperation and dialogue between center and state. Alright. So just remember these important conferences like the Governance Conference, Chief Ministers Conference, Chief Secretaries Conference, the Conference of Inspector General of Police, the Chief Justice's Conference, the Conference of Vice Chancellors, the Home Ministers Conference, and the Law Ministers Conference. Alright. Yes. So just revise this administrative parts as well. Now, in the next lecture, we'll study about financial powers as well. Okay. So just revise this All India Services, Public Service Commission, Integrated Judicial System and all. So friends, now here once again, we are going to conduct Unacademy Summit 2.0 on upcoming 20th and 21st. Okay, so 20th and 21st February, we are conducting this summit where these 2 days you will get an opportunity to attend number of discussions, workshops which will boost up your preparation, all right, and which will empower you to understand all about civil services current issues in our country. So we have number of renowned and iconic speakers and toppers who already secured good rank in the UPSC CSE. So if we are talking about these iconic speakers like Sri Ravi Shankar Prasad, Kailas Satyarthi, Ajit Ranade, Deepak Gupta, Durga Shakti Nagpal, and so on. So you can register yourself and download Unacademy app, and we are providing link for this registration in the description. So please register for this event Unacademy 2.0 scheduled on 20 and 21st February. Yes guys, after that we have next event Unacademy Combat on 20th February in the morning 11 o'clock. So you can enroll yourself for this event using code RBL Live. So description for these two events or links for the registration are available in the description box. Yes, so do not forget to register for these two events, that is Unacademy Summit 2.0 and Unacademy Combat. So guys, as you know that in this combat you will get amazing prizes including subscription of Unacademy and 75%, 50% and 25% off on Unacademy Plus subscription as well. So it will depend on your rank, right? So please register yourself for Unacademy Summit 2.0 and Unacademy Combat, and let's crack it. Yes guys, do not forget to join our Telegram group using this link and register for this event using code RBI Live. And please like, share and subscribe our videos, and keep studying, keep revising.